Got most of this thing buttoned up. Make this video for a few people. It's a little dirty right now. I've just been sitting in here collecting dust, and then I was buffing on it. Got a little bit of buff compound everywhere, but as far as doing this swap on OBS, they're not that bad, which I ain't finished with it yet. But you know, you got your standalone fed in through the firewall, like I stated before. And then you got your factory truck harness there, which I still have to like clean all that stuff up, zip tie it, but kept my grounds off the factory harness, put on the back of the head. There's your adapter for your coolant temp sensor, for the factory truck coolant temp sensor. That's the factory wire to this truck. That makes your coolant temp sensor work. Then that is your adapter for your factory oil pressure sensor, and your factory oil pressure sensor wiring makes the oil pressure gauge work, and that gives you your oil pressure and coolant. Then you'll have your speedometer. The LS wiring will just go to your VSS wiring on your factory harness to your from the transmission to the LS computer, and your speedometer will work. Your voltmeter will automatically work, and your fuel gauge will automatically work on most trucks, unless it's a 97 or 98. Then you gotta wire it through the computer. But anything below 97 will automatically work. Then I come in here, it's where your factory computer was. This is your fuel pump wire right here. Take a power probe, apply power to it, kick the fuel pump on. Then you'll know you got the right one. Then I cut it. Then I hook the standalone. This is your standalone. Your standalone wiring will hook into this for your fuel pump. And that's all you have to do for the fuel pump. And it will come on. Then you'll just tuck all this stuff back in here once you're done. It's just rough guessing on it right now. But then, you know, your computer, slide your computer in there. Then you'll plug these up on your computer. It will not go in with those already on it. You slide the computer in first, then put those on. And you don't need these, you don't need none of this stuff. All that stuff, you can just tuck back down in there and put your glove box back in, and you won't see any of this stuff. But, and you got a wire, finish wiring. Well, I guess on cheaper harnesses, you have to finish wiring your fuel pump relay. But it's not hard. That's about it as far as wiring goes. The rest of it is plug and play. You just feed it out the firewall and plug it up. All of it will plug in everywhere it goes. That's about the extent of the wiring on these things. In your AC, you don't mess with the AC on the factory harness. This is the factory AC wiring. That's the factory AC wiring. This is the factory AC line. What I do is put this bolt in the bracket, bolt this on, and I'll rotate this up, and because this line normally goes down and up, and then it comes up right here. What I normally do is just hold this and then bend it up, and I'll bend it, you know, it's got to bend there, and a bend there, and I'll just work it until I get it to where it fits up there, and then bolt the AC compressor back on. And then the other line, it just works where it goes down through there. But as far as your standalone and all that stuff goes, that's about as extent of the LBS wiring. That's about all you have to do. And then a lot of people don't do this. They spend a ton of money on this and make it way harder. You can take this, instead of buying all the fittings to adapt it over to the radiator, you can drill this water pump right here or down here and tap it and thread it and put a nipple on it and run this directly to that, which is what I do to all of them. And then you have your EGR hole. You can go to the parts store and buy a rubber expandable freeze plug, or you can order an EGR delete plug off eBay. Either way works. And then I've already made a video on fuel lines. That's not hard. And you got all your factory wiring. I don't mess with this. This is your fuel pump wiring right here. So I hook it up inside. And then all that works. Even the fuse still works. So if something happens, it'll blow that fuse. And then I'll just put my factory cover back on there. You won't see, but by the time I get all of this cleaned up, zip tied up where I want it and pinned where I want it, it'll look good and everything will work. Keep your factory gauges, and then that's about it. Well, a few things left and this thing will run. Gotta get some O2 sensors, a belt, hoses obviously, heater hoses, and a radiator and a condenser, and this thing will be done. I have the cold air charge pipe from Speed Engineering in the box over there. I haven't got out yet. That'll probably be the last thing I'll do, put that on. And that'll hold your mass airflow sensor. If you order the one from Speed Engineering, they come with all the right, couplers and stuff like that to hold your mass airflow sensor. I do have Speed Engineering headers. I wanted the 1 3/4, but they were out of stock whenever I bought them. And they sent me the 1 7/8. I bought them from a dealer, not directly through Speed Engineering, but Speed Engineering didn't have any in stock. And as you can see, they're extremely close. These 1 7/8 are designed, I emailed Speed Engineering. They're designed for the motor to set 2 inches back from the factory location. So, and obviously I'm using the factory MV3500 in this truck in the factory spot. So it makes those headers extremely tight. You have to jack the motor up real high. And then I have kind of bent the header. It still looks like it's touching, but it's barely clearing right now. But you gotta kind of finesse that passenger side header with the 1 7/8. I would go with the 1 3/4. And if you can't get the 1 3/4 from Speed Engineering, I would go 1 3/4 from Schoenfeld, because the 1 7/8 are tight unless you slide that motor back 2 inches from factory. But I wasn't shortening my drive shaft and I wasn't moving my transmission or cutting my floor for the shifter, so I left it there. But that's about all there is to it.